Yo, what is up, my basketball family, and welcome back to Green Team Productions. Now, this may be one of the best times to be an NBA fan because there's just so many storylines to follow. From young teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder and Minnesota Timberwolves going from play-in teams to legitimate threats out west, or the pairing of Giannis and Damian Lillard, the new-look Boston team with Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, and the Clippers adding James Harden to an already stacked roster of Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. But there is a pair of rookies that are looking to come in and change the game completely. And those two players are Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren. Now, we all know that Chet Holmgren was the number 2 pick in the 2022 NBA draft. But before he could even play his first official NBA game, he suffered a foot injury in a Pro-Am game trying to guard LeBron James attacking the hoop. But even with missing his entire first season, basketball purists knew that Chet was going to be a problem because he is a 7'1" unicorn who can hit outside shots, attack off of the dribble, and protect the rim, the truly new modern big man. And as of the time of this recording, the Thunder are 18 games into the NBA season, where they are currently the number 3 seed in a stacked Western Conference. And it's in large part due to him. Through these 18 games, Chet is averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, while shooting 56% from the field. And not to mention, he's also doing this while blocking 2 shots a game. And what was the 14th ranked defense last year in Oklahoma City is now the 7th ranked defense when Chet is on the floor. And many feared that with his skinny frame, he would struggle on the defensive end, but that is not the case. He has absolutely held his own. In just his 6th NBA game of the season, going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, which arguably have the best front court in the NBA in Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, Chet recorded 7 blocks, and these are not scrubs. And offensively, he just opens up so many doors for the Thunder because there are so many actions that you can put him in. A pick and roll, a pick and pop, let him create his own shot off of the dribble, and of course he can knock down shots in a catch and shoot situation. And his offensive abilities have definitely shown this season. Being that Chet is the only rookie in Thunder's history to have multiple 30-point performances in his first 15 games. And both of these performances are coming against pretty notable teams. First, against the Golden State Warriors, where he dropped an insane 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. And in that same game, he hits a clutch turnaround 3 to send the game into overtime, where the Thunder would eventually go on to win. Then about a week later, he faces Joel Embiid in the Philadelphia 76ers, where he would go on to put up 33 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists against the reigning MVP, where he would once again come up in the clutch. As you can see, he takes the ball down the court in transition and hits a stop and pop 3 to cut the lead down to 2. And let me remind you, this is your center. You typically don't see clutch performances like this from rookie players, but Chet doesn't seem to care. He clearly has that dog in him. So there is no question, Chet is a unicorn as previously mentioned. But there's unicorns and there's aliens, and an alien is the only way to describe Victor Wembanyama. Standing at a staggering 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan, Victor Wembanyama is coming in with the tools to possibly be the greatest basketball prospect of all time. And trust me, there's no disrespect to the legends, but there's just something different about Victor. We have never seen a player at his size be this skilled, from his outside shooting to his ball handling, his mobility and agility. We have just never seen something like this. When is the last time that you've seen a 7'4" player nutmeg a guard or hit crossovers and hezzy pull-ups like he's a 6-foot player? The mobility at his size is just ridiculous. I don't know how many times I can reiterate it. Though he has had a solid rookie campaign, he hasn't been able to elevate his team past the bottom of the Western Conference. Through 18 games, Victor is averaging 19 points, 9.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, while shooting 43% from the field. And of course, with his length and agility, he is a defensive menace, averaging 2.5 blocks a game and throwing a steal with that. The NBA is going to take some time to adjust to Victor's length. There have been moments where players think that they have a wide open 3, but their shot just ends up out of bounds because Victor is so long and can cover so much ground that he's able to get to that shot, even though it looks like he's an impossible distance away. I mean, the guy can literally get from wing to wing in about 2 steps. And on this play right here, it really shows his length. As he's guarding Josh Giddey at the top of the key, he's so long he can reach into the lane and steal the ball from a player attacking the rim, and then get out in transition and throw down a monster dunk. And if he's not blocking your shot, he's definitely altering it, making you rethink taking shots in the paint. Now, Victor isn't the strongest or quickest defender, and there's many times where he can get bumped off of his spot or simply crossed over, but once again, with that length, he's able to recover and make great defensive plays. And like you just seen on the previous play, he gets out in transition like a gazelle, many times beating guards down the court. And that's definitely an element to his game. Victor can get a lot of easy buckets in transition, of course, if his teammates can find him, which has kind of been a lingering problem with his team. There are just so many times where his teammates will miss him on a cut or a lob or simply sprinting down court. And with a player like Wemby, those adjustments have to be made. Now, I don't think this is intentional. The Spurs are a very young team and they don't really have a true point guard. Their best option is coming off the bench in Trey Jones, so I believe that is something that can be easily fixed going into the future. But Wemby is just so big and so skilled that he's gonna get buckets off. But when you combine that with teammates finding him for easy buckets, he can have a monster game. Just like he did in his 5th NBA game of the season going against the Phoenix Suns, a team that when healthy is supposed to be contending for the Western Conference and maybe even a championship. But on that night, Victor went into the Suns' home building and had an absolute monster game, even out-dueling Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. He was able to drop in 38 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks. And with that performance, Victor put himself in pretty legendary company, being that Victor is the only rookie since Shaquille O'Neal back in 1992 to have 100 points and 10 blocks within his first 5 games. So I would say that he's living up to his potential and he can only get better. And just all around, Victor is good for the game of basketball. He brings in a lot of intrigue and can possibly bring in a lot of casual fans. But with the casual fans also brings media attention, and Victor is getting a lot of it, deservedly so. But let's not get it twisted. Just because Victor has the media hype and the potential doesn't mean that he is the better player. Currently, I would give that to Chet Holmgren. Even though Chet may average a little less points, a little less assists, and a little less blocks, he is simply more efficient and effective player at this moment. His shooting splits are 56% from the field, 43% from 3, and 87% from the line, compared to Victor's 43% from the field, 28% from 3, and 82% from the line, with Chet having a true shooting percentage of 67%, while Victor is sitting at about 52%. And while they both are above average ball handlers for their position and size, at the moment, Chet is a little bit more reliable with the ball in his hands, being that he only averages about 2 turnovers a game compared to Victor's 4 a game. But that could also be because Victor's usage rate is much higher than Chet, seeing that Chet has a lot more weapons around him that are able to get him easier buckets. All of this being said, these two players will be battling for the next decade as to who is the best big man in the game. But for right now, I think Chet takes the cake. Now, it may be because Chet's age, it may be because Chet had a year of development with an NBA team even though he wasn't playing. Who knows? All that we know is Chet is putting up the more efficient numbers. And his team is the 3rd in the Western Conference, so he clearly has an impact on winning. But like I always say, I'm just a random who shares his basketball opinions on the internet, and I create these videos to start a conversation. So I would love for you guys to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you want more basketball content. I want you guys to have a great and productive day. And with all that being said, peace.